Hello there. So this is your little tutorial on your individual ingredient and recipe costs. This is where all your ingredients are going to be listed and all your recipes are going to be listed. So let's go ahead and explain exactly how each ingredient is calculated. All these numbers in here are my numbers, and if you're in the United States, they're going to be pretty close. I do recommend that you check your receipts fairly often and make sure that you're keeping your prices current. So as I said, the cardinal rule, remember, if it's yellow, you can put something in there. If it's not, you can't, because it's calculating everything for you. Okay, so let's say, just for the example, all-purpose flour. There is a link to that so you know what I'm talking about. The all-purpose flour, I get it for $3.99 and I get 4,530 grams. Okay, so that's probably a 5-pound bag, and I'll tell you how I figured that. So either you can find this on the package itself, or if you can't find it because you don't have the package anymore, or it's just not written on there, you go up and you go to this little calculator. So you say, okay, I thought in a pound, I bought a 5-pound bag, and I need to know how many grams it is. So I'll choose grams, which I did. So apparently I had that slightly wrong. It's going to be 2268. This is mine. Okay, so now we know, okay, for $3.99, if you get yours for $2.99, put $2.99 in here, okay? But let's say you got a 10-pound bag. So you'd go back up here and you'd put 10 here, and it would calculate it at, it's just taking a minute because the internet's a little bit slow. So it would calculate it at 45.35, and you would put that here. But I didn't, so I got a 5-pound bag for $3.99. And then this tells me, okay, it's less than a penny a gram. So when you go ahead and you put in 140 grams, of course, it's going to be calculating this number here for you, but I'll explain all that in a minute. All right, so what if something is a liquid? If it's a liquid like this almond extract, it's the same process. You put the price in, but instead of putting it under grams, you put it here under milliliters. I get 59 milliliters for $3.44. So that gives me a 6-cent per milliliter cost. And that's what the spreadsheet over here is going to use to calculate your cost for each individual recipe. But what if you have something that's each, like an egg? Okay, so let's go down to eggs. So here's an egg. All right. So I get 18 eggs, or I did get, and not so much now with the COVID, but I got 18 eggs for $1.18. Okay, so if it's an each thing, it's going to go here if it's under grams or each. Okay, then this tells me, okay, that's 7 cents per egg. All right, so what this does is this levels it so that everything's either in per gram, per milliliter, or in each kind of format. Let me go down to the very end of this. This is, you can see all the possible things that you might use. And then I did have some non-food items here, which I use all the time. Paper towels, dish soap, saran wrap, things like that. So you could put that in there too. And I just put that for basically every recipe because I use all that stuff and I want to account for it. All right, so now how do you put in your recipes? This is where I actually have them numbered because I use the Paprika app, and it's awesome. And if you don't have that app, it's only $7.99 and you absolutely should get it. So I named them all, and I numbered them all, and I also have the name. So let's say this is my first recipe because I use it a lot, the white almond sour cream cake. I've made it, the first time I made it, I measured that it made 1,370 grams, and I also put cups, although I never use cups. I always use grams, but some people like cups, so I went ahead and put those in. This price per recipe, so again, this is yellow, so that means you can put it in. The price per recipe is going to be calculated based on what you put in, and it tells you here how many ingredients it has, so you can make sure that you have all your ingredients. You know you need 11, and there's an 11 there, then you're good. But just make sure that if you're adding those non-food items, that those don't get mixed up, because that could mix up your number of ingredients in the recipe. Okay, so I need 140 grams of flour, and as you'll see, each column will pop up everywhere that you're putting something in, how almost all recipes in the United States come with cups, right? So how many grams is in a cup? Well, you don't have to figure that every time. It's going to pop up for you just like this. So I needed a little more than a cup. So I needed 140 grams. So this, I know that a cup is 120, and so I added a little bit more. Okay, so let's go to, oh, and then once you put 140 in there, it will calculate, based on what you've already put in over here, how much that is in flour in terms of cost, money. Okay, so let's go down here to the almond extract. All right, again, I don't know how many milliliters is in one tablespoon or 1 teaspoon necessarily, but it pops up and it tells you, so you don't have to do any calculating or asking Google. So you're going to do this for every single ingredient in that recipe. So you can see here I'm going down, 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 down. And here we had a little bit of salt, a little bit of sour cream, all in grams or milliliters or each. Okay, so you're going to put each of your recipes in up here. Now, it's yellow when you get it, so that's the reason this is not yellow now. I've changed it because I just have that as my own little system of knowing, okay, that recipe's all done. I don't have to change it or add anything to it. But you're going to go ahead and put every single one of your recipes in here. And it's easy to change this color. I changed this color because that red is telling me I'm guessing on this. I've never measured that. But once I measure it, I'm going to turn it yellow, and that's going to tell me, okay, it's done. The way you change a color is to just go back up here to this little bucket, this little paint bucket, and you can choose any color that you want. So I have these little ways of reminding myself of things I still need to do. So as you can see, I have all my recipes in here, and it goes all the way to 100. And I have another short tutorial on how to add more here if you have more than 100. So let's say that you have all your recipes in, but you just want to check a recipe because somebody asked for something that they've never asked for, you don't have a recipe for. So I leave number 100 as a quick check. That way I can just not necessarily keep that recipe. I just want it for this particular cake that I might never make again. Now, if I do go ahead and make it, I can just copy it and paste it and put it in another one of these things and give it its own number. So that's what I leave 100 for. Like the other day, this lady wanted some bizcochitos, and I don't normally make them, but she wanted them, so I priced them here, and I don't think I'm going to keep them in my pricing spreadsheet because I don't think I'm going to make those that often. So this is the sheet that's going to give you, that's going to take the most amount of your time in the beginning. But once it's done, it's done. The only thing you would have to do is maybe add an ingredient that maybe I don't have in there that's specific to what you're baking. You might need to change a price of something. So say you got butter at a really good price and you want to go with that for a while, or butter's just gone up, so you want to account for that. So all of this can be kept current. Just check your receipt, make sure every so often that the price you have in here is what you're getting it for currently. All right, so that is how you set up your individual recipe costs. It really doesn't take that much time. I would say for 70 recipes or so, it's going to take you maybe an hour to an hour and a half, but once it's done, it's done. Now, the cool thing is that all of these recipes and what's important to know for calculating a price is going to then auto-populate. You do not have to do anything onto your costing master. So I'm not going to go into the cost master. That's another tutorial, but I'm just going to show you so you see how they're linked. Down here on the cost master, your recipe lookup. All of those recipes that I put in, they automatically appeared here. And you can see that I have some empty spaces because I haven't filled those up. You can see here that I haven't actually measured that one, so I don't know how many grams that Tres Leches is making me. So I'm still working on it. I still have to get a lot of my grams of batter, what it will make, filled in. So, but anyway, you don't have to do any of this. It automatically appears here. Okay, so that's how you set up your ingredients. And once you get that done, that's the lion's share of the work that you have to do. So I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.